Hello and welcome back to the Finding Your Feet podcast, a podcast show dedicated to helping you get closer to your true authentic self by helping you find your feet in life. Welcome back to episode 71.
Welcome back to the show, guys. Today we're going to be speaking all about shadow work because we've never spoken about it before, and obviously it's just an episode, just me and Abby, so we're going to have a little catch-up chat, talk about shadow work, dive into it, what is it, because we asked you guys what you wanted more of from us and on Instagram, and thank you everyone who fed back, but you requested more spiritual chats, and this what shadow work is kind of spiritual, so yes, here we are serving you some more spiritual vibes, so hopefully you enjoy this today.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like shadow work is so spiritual, and as well, I really love doing these little spiritual episodes. I feel like they're the most fun. Well, not the most fun, but I just really enjoy it when we just sit and have a chat.
Convo.
Yeah, and just catch up what we've been doing. It's just all fun.
All fun and games. But before we get into the episode, guys, we're just going to read out our Apple Podcast review of the week, as always. So this week's review is from, and I can't read out the username because it's numbers and question mark and colon, so I'm not sure who it's from, but thank you very much to whoever it is. But it's all the way from Peru. Can you believe it? Finding Your Feet is going global. We are hitting Peru. So the review says, it's fantastic. I love this podcast. Every time I listen to it, it lifts my spirits up and I end up feeling so much better than before. All the ideas and lessons on the podcast are just so inspiring. I just love it.
Oh, thank you so much, whoever that is in Peru. That is the main aim, to make you feel better when you leave. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, we always want you to leave an episode feeling more high vibe than you felt when you started. So that's amazing feedback and entirely our aims. Thank you so much to whoever you are out there in Peru. That's so cool. It's amazing. But yeah, thank you. And if you guys want to be featured in Review of the Week next week, all you need to do is leave us some feedback on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, and we will read yours out at the beginning of the show next week.
Yeah, come and leave us a review and let us know where you're from, if it's somewhere exotic like Peru.
Yeah, love hearing from you guys. Okay, so we're going to start off the conversation today all about shadow work by just going through what exactly is it, because you might have clicked on this episode, seen the title, but you're thinking, what the hell is that? That sounds kind of scary, but it's really not. The term just sounds very scary. But essentially, shadow work is just kind of like uncovering limiting beliefs, subconscious blocks, but it's a little bit different than specific limiting belief, and subconscious thought on blocking is quite specific to repetitive thought patterns that don't serve you, whereas shadow work is a bit deeper, it's a bit less logical, and it's just a lot deeper rooted, but it still works in the same way, and that whatever is in your shadow will block you. But basically, your shadows are not a dark, horrible, scary part of you. Your shadows are just the shadow part of you, where through your life experiences, things that happen to you when you've been growing up or as an adult, that have made you feel shame or unsafe to be or do certain things based on whatever your experiences were, you will throw those attributes into your shadow. So you'll throw those parts of you into your shadow. So shadow work doesn't mean just uncovering really bad, stereotypically negative traits about yourself. Shadow work can be uncovering good traits about yourself, but through your life experience, maybe you were responded to in a negative way for a good trait about you, but you threw it into your shadow anyway, when actually it's really something within you that you should be proud of, that's authentic to you, that you should own, but because of a life experience, you have made to feel that it wasn't safe to be you in that sense, or that you wouldn't be accepted and loved, and that it just wasn't safe. So you essentially throw it into your shadow, and then it's in the darkness, it's in the shadow, you don't look at it, you don't engage with it, but actually these things, anything that lingers around deep under all of our layers, even though we're not consciously aware of it day to day, it still dictates a lot of our behavior, and it's also the energy behind our intention, our behaviors, what we want, like with manifesting and everything. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but it can just really kind of block you. So yeah, it's quite deep work, and it's not entire. I'd say it's not easy. Like, it takes bravery, and it might take a bit of time, but I don't think you need to be put off by the term and be scared of it. Like, it's actually really beautiful self-development work to do, and it just helps you get closer to what you want in life, and just helps you know yourself more, and just deepens your self-love as well. And I know that like so many of our listeners are so on their self-love journey, and it's so beautiful to see. And like so many of you came to our self-love webinar and were so like touched by it, and have been doing so many amazing, beautiful work. And we see your growth just through like how you show up on Instagram, how you talk to us. We see that you guys are doing all the self-love work, and shadow work is actually just a key part of that as well, because all these things that you've essentially thrown into your shadows, about shining light on them and welcoming them back into you, into your authenticity, integrating them back into yourself, and just loving all parts of you. So yeah, shadow work, let's get into it deep.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like shadow work is just that little bit deeper than everything else, like kind of within the self-development world. And I feel like it's not something you have to embark on, but if you do decide to, it's kind of just like, what level of responsibility do you want to take for your life? I feel like you can go down this huge self-development path, which is absolutely amazing, and we would recommend anybody to do that. But yeah, shadow work is just that little bit deeper, like how much radical responsibility do you really, really want to take for your life? And the thing with shadow work as well is a lot of the stuff that you may uncover is like very unconscious. So it's not something you're aware of. It's something you do need to work on in a way. But like Grace said, it doesn't have to be really scary. Like when you hear shadow, like when I hear the word shadow, I think like gloomy, loneliness.
It sounds horrible.
That's basically like what they're saying, like you throw into your shadow, which is what you do. But it doesn't need to be so gloomy. Like it's actually a really beautiful process. And I just feel like with shadow work, it's just basically clearing out room for more beautiful things to grow within you. Like the more you clear out those unconscious beliefs and those unconscious shadows that you're carrying around with you that you don't even realize, the more you're saving room for more beautiful things to grow within you. So
I love that. I think that's such a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking lately, because I think, as we'll get into, sometimes it can be a bit scary facing up to your shadows. But I think if you keep reminding yourself of that, like you're not just doing it for fun and games, even though it can be really fun, you're actually doing it to save more room for yourself and to give yourself room to learn and grow and just create more beautiful things, because that's what life is about. The beautiful things.
It is. And it's so true. Like if your heart space is really like kind of blocked up and closed off because you've got a lot of uncovered shadows or limiting beliefs and holding on to people who don't serve you, then you actually have like a capacity for how much you can have in your life, how much you can have in your like general thoughts and your energy levels. So yeah, I love that, like thinking about like clearing it out to make space for like the beauty that you want. And that's how like I think in manifesting as well, it's amazing for that, because it just really clears your channel. Because our shadows because they're quite deep rooted and they drive a lot of the energy behind some of our behavior patterns that don't serve us and aren't empowering, then it does take up a lot of like the energy, because intention is everything behind what you do. The energy behind all your intention, it needs to come from love. Like when it comes from fear, you get a fear result. So I think shadow work like helps you clear out your channel, and then your intentions are just much more clearer with what you want from a place of love and like strong belief, rather than like fear and lack and not enoughness. Like it's coming from just a better place. So 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I think in order to manifest, you do really have to clear up those channels, because I think you have to start from a clean slate. As Max said in our previous interview last week, he was saying that like to manifest, you have to become a new person. Like you have to take the wheel off the car. I think that's the same with like shadows and these subconscious beliefs. Like they are deep rooted in you, but the more you work on that, you're creating, like you said, a clear channel to manifest. And that is what we need. We need that like magnetic clear channel.
Yeah. So I just want to quickly explain like how you can throw things that are like good about you into your shadow, just for anybody that's, because this might be a new term to some of our listeners. But like, let's just use it as an example. You, when you were younger, like you achieved something at school and you were like really proud of it. You know, when you're a kid, like you kind of have no filter in that sense. Like when you're an adult, you don't really go around being like, well, I mean, we do. We love a bit of self-celebration, you know. You gotta accomplish. I mean, what's the word? Step back and admire where you're on your journey and your wins and all that. So maybe not us, but other people. I don't know. You just don't really go around all the time like saying,
like boasting,
I've done
maybe.
this. Yeah. But it's when you're a kid, you don't understand what the concept of boasting is, or that's not really like, you know, it's seen, well, in the UK and our culture, it's seen to be as like a bit crass. Is that the right word?
Well,
like
crass. I don't know that word.
You don't know that word. I think it means just a bit like
up yourself, like get over yourself.
So when you're a kid, like say you did something good at school, you know, you won something, whatever, then you go around telling everyone about it because you're so proud of yourself, and you have no concept of like that social conditioning yet that, you know, as an adult, you don't really go around telling, well, some people do, but telling everybody like what you've been doing or whatever. So then maybe a parent or whatever, or a teacher or somebody told you to stop showing off. So then you then associate yourself with sharing your accomplishments and achievements as being unsafe, and that you will not be loved and accepted if you do that. So then you essentially throw that attribute of yourself into your shadow, and you stop then telling people what you do, what you've achieved, what's going on. And then also you have formed like a subconscious fear of like success, and then you will subconsciously like push opportunities for success away from you, because you think that when you achieve success you will not be liked, you will not be accepted, because when you were succeeding when you were younger, you were told to stop showing off, boasting, whatever. So you just assume, oh, okay, right, I can't do that. So you essentially throw that into your shadow. And actually accomplishing your wins and like being proud of yourself and wanting to succeed and stuff is not a bad thing. But in that concept of you as a child, you haven't got the emotional capacity to recognize that and understand that. So you throw it into your shadow as a child, and then you still hold it in your shadow when you're an adult, because we don't often look at our shadows. And until it kind of comes into your awareness of, like, from this episode, it's coming into your awareness now of what shadow work is. So you'll probably start to look at things after this and things will start to spark off in your mind. But generally they become quite so deep rooted and unconscious that we don't really address it or think about it. But it will still dictate our adult behavior, even though our adult mind can understand that situation as a child. That doesn't mean that you should never acknowledge when you've done well and you've won at things. But obviously as a child you can understand that, so you threw that part of you in your shadows. So that's how you can throw even traits within you that are not bad. You can throw them into your shadow, but it can even just be like, maybe you got tormented at school for being a bit quirky, or I don't know, or like having your hair cut a certain way, and then you throw into your shadow like something about your appearance or your personality, and then when actually that's just authentic to you. And yeah, to really integrate like true self-love, like we need to uncover that and like accept those parts of us. But yeah, so that's how, like, you know, so it can be kind of like irrational when you line it all out. Like, it's not irrational, because it all makes sense, like how you end up throwing things into your shadow, even good parts of you. When you look at why you've done it and the life experiences that made you do that, it all makes complete sense. But if you look at it from like a really logical mind, it like is irrational, and you don't need to let it dictate your adult behavior. And that's just how you can really unlock yourself, open yourself up energetically with terms of manifestation, but also just in terms of like your life and what you want, because you can really be held back on such a deep subconscious level, through these like little shadows that are kind of running in the background that you just really aren't aware of. So it's not just all about like things in our shadow are all really horrible parts of ourselves that we just hide away from people because they're so unacceptable and we don't want anyone to know. They can even be like good parts of ourselves, but just from like a life experience, we've thrown it in there and now it lives there. So that's why it's really important work to do, to look back at what's in there, because actually you might be hiding parts of you that are amazing, that are beautiful, that are going to help you live life more authentically and help you create the life that you want. So it really helps you embrace authenticity as well. And yeah, it's just very, very powerful work to do.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were saying there, like when we're kids, we don't understand it. I feel like it's just because we're so like impressionable when we're that age. And I feel like we take an emotion and we run with it. Like as we were discussing before, we were having a huge chat about like shadow work, but more like a personal side to it. And I was kind of like thinking about memories, and it just came to me that like the reason these memories stick out to us, like within a time frame, you can't remember anything within that year. Like say you're thinking about something when you're younger, but you can remember a specific memory because it's evoked an emotion in you, whether that's like shame, anger, sadness. And that's why it's stuck with you. So I definitely say, like, if you're quite new to this, or if you're someone that's working on your subconscious beliefs, have a think back to like your childhood and have a think what memories have stuck with you, whether that is like a good emotion or a bad emotion, and like why have they stuck with you. Like there's a reason, because they've evoked that emotion in you, and that's why it's like imprinted in your mind, and more than likely that's probably formed like some kind of belief within you. So that's a really good place to start. But I also do think with shadow work, because it can be very deep and unconscious, I think if you are struggling with it and you feel like you do have some blocks when you want to work on it, but you don't even know where to start, because I feel like it can be quite daunting, I would definitely say asking for help of someone that knows what they're doing, like a healer, a therapist, even a friend.
So
even someone like in your family, someone from a different perspective can really help you uncover these unconscious beliefs, because sometimes we can be so hardwired a certain way and we're so running on autopilot that we don't even realize how these memories have affected us. And that's what it is. It's like a memory. It's just triggers something within us. So like I would definitely say to reach out to like a therapist, energy healer, anything like that, if you want to learn about your shadows and you don't know where to start, because they will really help you break down like that from an outside view, like looking inward to you.
Yeah, 100%. Because you can be blocked and just feel like there's something standing in your way, but it's like that quote that I think I've said it a couple of times on the podcast before, like so you're like, life is in this jar, and like the label of your life, like why you do, everything, your behavior patterns are all written like on this label outside the jar. And while you're in the jar in your life, sometimes it can be hard to jump out and get that perspective of what's written on the outside and what's running the show, what's the ingredients, what's caused this. And so going to see a therapist or a healer or a coach when it comes to work like this can be really, really powerful, because sometimes you're blocked, but you cannot put two and two together yourself. Like and sometimes like with shadow work where it's quite deep rooted, you will be speaking things out. Someone might just, you're talking to a let's say a therapist, and they're kind of like pulling things out of you in a way, like, encouraging you, like, helping you speak, jogging, do you know what I mean? Like guiding you along, and they don't know what you're going to say, but they can tell there's something there. And sometimes things will then come out of your mouth and you like shock yourself, because you're like, oh, I believe that, like that lives in there, like I didn't even realize. And things like that are really experiences that, unless you have really deep self-analysis and like self-awareness, and like can sit in a room by yourself and like question everything you do for days on end, which we all obviously don't all have the time to do. So therapy is a great way to do that. And obviously then you feel very safe in that space, because a therapist knows how to create a safe, open environment for you to be vulnerable in that way, so you can uncover these things that might be linked from a painful memory, and you can feel safe to process it and it not be like, do you know what I mean? You've got somebody there who can
for sure. And I feel like they can as well help. Sometimes we can live in denial as well, and I feel like therapists really, because they are used to it, they'll know when you, not so much lying, but when you're kind of being dishonest to yourself. Because if you've been dishonest to yourself for that long, that many years, it can become familiar, and like I said, it's autopilot. So having someone to guide you can really help you. It's not just like digging that little bit into your subconscious. They're gonna like dig right in and really help you dust it out.
Dust it out, clean it up. It's good stuff. Therapy is powerful work. But if you guys feeling like you've been wanting to get into therapy and you didn't really know where to go, our sponsor, BetterHelp, who are an online therapy service who are really, really proud to be partnered up with on this podcast, because what they do aligns with us so much. And obviously what we're speaking about now about shadow work, and we're saying like therapy can be a big part of it, and having the healing effects of that is so huge. It's amazing that we can then divert you on to somewhere where you can access these services. So BetterHelp, like I said, are a professional, secure online counselling service, and they will set you up with a therapist in just 2 days. So sometimes, you try and get therapy in the UK anyway through the NHS and stuff like that. The waiting time can be so long because there's so many people trying to access it. Whereas BetterHelp, because it's online, they can set you up with a therapist once you sign up, and you'll have an appointment in 2 days, which is amazing. So you can just get straight on and start doing it. But it is available for clients all over the world. So wherever you are right now listening to this podcast, doesn't matter what country you're in. We read out our review at the beginning of the episode from Peru. If you're in Peru, you can access BetterHelp. It's a global, worldwide company because it's an online service. So wherever you are, if you want to access therapy at a affordable price point with our discount, and be able to do it from the comfort of your own home, then BetterHelp is a really good option for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm really proud and happy that we are partnered with BetterHelp, because as you just said, like, well, obviously we're doing an episode on shadow work. It's something we're passionate about. It's something we have both received guidance with. So the fact that we can talk about it, if that's going to stir something within you and you do feel like you need that guidance, I'm glad that we can actually provide that. Because the last thing I would want is to stir something within people, then not offer additional support. So basically BetterHelp, we're really proud to be sponsored with them, and as Grace said, they are an incredible company. So if you really do feel like you need that little bit of help, they'll be able to guide you, and you can basically explain, like, you do a little questionnaire at the start and you can literally type to them what you want. So if you wanted work with this, you could say, I want to do like some deeper work with my subconscious, please, and they will guide you, and they will set you with a therapist that is right for you. And then if you are put with someone and you think this isn't what I want, they're not going as deep, something like that, I want something a bit different, you can change your therapist until you're happy.
It's amazing that you can do that, and it's at no additional cost. So there's no nothing to lose when you sign up. But yes, as we said, they are giving our listeners a discount on their first month of therapy. So it's because it's online, it's already much more affordable than traditional offline counselling. But with our discount, you also get an extra 10% off your first month. So to access this, all you need to do is go to the link betterhelp.com/finding your feet. That's betterhelp.com/finding your feet. Go to that link. We've left it in the show notes, but just click on there. The discount is automatically applied to your account for being a listener of our podcast. And just fill out the questionnaire, tell them what you want to work on, and they'll match you with someone in 2 days and you can start your therapy journey. But honestly, like, therapy is just such a huge part of that personal growth journey, self-development journey. I know that some people think there's like a stigma around it and there's shame in it, but there really isn't. Like we said, if you want to clear your channel and change who you are and like help improve, you've got to take that wheel off and then put like a new one on. And therapy is like it's the spanner to help you do that. If you feel like you're ready to go to a coach, you want to uncover some more parts of you and heal and grow as a person and whatever it is, then BetterHelp's the great place to go. You are so worth investing in yourself and getting the support if you need it.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are a bit apprehensive, if you have any questions at all, just pop a message to us on Instagram. We're very happy to help.
Come and chat to us on the gram at Find Your Feet Podcast, because a big part of my actual shadow work journey stemmed from therapy that I uncovered. I realized I was trying to manifest something, and I was like, this isn't coming into my reality. Everything else is. Why is this not coming in? I'm doing all the things, so what is it? And that was before I realized how much shadow work and like deep unconscious beliefs block your manifesting if they aren't aligned with what it is that you want. And so it was actually through that I was like, why am I not manifesting this? What's going on here? Then I started to dig deeper into my mind. And I thought, oh, right, that's why. And then I was like, I can't look at this by myself. I need some help. And then I went to therapy, and it was amazing. Completely helped me so much, which is amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
Glad that I did it. Invested in myself.
Yeah,
just paid off times 1,000.
It's funny. No, because as you just said, then I was like that because obviously I started going to see like a new energy healer, which I've mentioned a few times on the podcast, just very recently. And I remember like when I had my first call with her, I was like, oh, I just maybe want to see like work on subconscious release. And she was like, oh yeah, we'll just do a spring clean. And now we're like mid spring clean, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah, she's going
there's a
deep,
big
aren't you?
spring clean. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's not something everyone has to do, like I said, but it's like, how far do you want to go? Like, how much do you want to unlock your power within? How much do you want to get rid of these subconscious beliefs? Because you can think that life just happens to you and kind of like unconsciously live in victim mode and think, oh, these things just happen to me. But it's like, you have to make that decision. Like, how much responsibility do you want to take for what you're attracting into your life? And that is what shadow work does. It lets you dive that little bit deeper. And then as well, I feel like as you're on that journey of uncovering these things, it's like, everything makes sense. Like, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense why I've attracted that, why I've done this behavior. And as well, it's always got to come from such a loving place. Like, I feel like with shadow work, sometimes it can come quite a lot of shame because you're looking back at your past self and like your behaviors and what's happened. You can like maybe have shame around like, oh, why did I act like that? Or why did another person act like that to create this? But you have to come from such a loving place. You have to always remember that any of your behavior in life and anything you do, you're always doing it from a place of just seeking love and of wanting to seek love and acceptance. And I think when you remember that, you just like want to give yourself a hug.
Yeah. And shadow work requires like a deep level of like self-love and self-acceptance and compassion to do it. Because like you said, you can even like look back at memories of something that somebody else did to you that made you throw something into your shadow that you've realized has been really blocking you in your life, and you're like angry about it. So yeah, you do have to have like a deep level of acceptance, and also just for things that maybe you uncover that you did in the past, behaviors you don't agree with now, you're not proud of or anything, and you need to meet that with unconditional love, because we're ever doing is our best with what we know at the time. And like I said, we're always just at the end of the day, like each of us, even when we act out from project pain, like it's all just because we're seeking love. Like that's what all humans want. So you've got to just fully accept and love all parts of you, even past behaviors, past things that have happened that you know maybe wish you didn't do or regret or whatever. You've got to love that, because that's what built you to be who you are now. So if you want to love who you are now, you've got to love all that past stuff as well, because it's shaped you into who you are. So yeah, shadow work can really help spur on your self-love journey. And but what we were saying there with like therapy and of kind of voicing out your shadows, like it even goes the same if you're lucky to have really supportive friendships, somebody really close that you feel like you could speak about a limiting belief to, or I've just realized this about myself that I think, and voice it out and have a conversation about it with somebody, family member, a romantic partner. If you've got that person in your life that you can do that with, that is so powerful for doing shadow work. Because when you first uncover like a limiting belief or a block that you didn't realize was swimming around in your mind for like years running the show, then you realize it can be quite like shocking sometimes and a bit draining. And so when you're actually voicing it out, it can really help. But also actually just voicing it out reduces the weight of it, of how much you believe that limiting belief that you've been thinking, by 50% instantly, just by voicing it out. Like the power of sharing is so powerful. That's why we do quite a lot of like give people the opportunity to share in our workshops and stuff, because when you're sharing in a safe space like that, then you feel so like held by everybody else, and that in itself is just incredibly healing. Like when people say a problem shared is problem halved, like when it comes to things like shadow work and stuff, it really is. And yeah, if you can like voice it out, if you have got that supportive relationship where you're able to do that, then it can really help reduce the like sort of impacts and how much you believe that shadow by 50%, which is huge. And then you've only got, so it instantly drops by 50%. Then you've only got 50% left to work through yourself. And that, you know, doesn't need to take a long time. And you can do that through breath work, journaling, as you will hear on the episode next week, sensual dancing, like there's so many different like healing modalities, and it doesn't need to take a really long time. So even though like we're saying shadow work is deep rooted, all this stuff, it doesn't mean that the road to uncovering it and healing it needs to take as long as it did to cement the shadow in your mind in the first place. That's not the case. Like, and as you will have seen as well from like our Finder's anniversary episode, if you haven't listened to that, go and listen. It was episode 67, where we had the 3 finders on the show, and you could see their journeys and transformation happened really quite quickly, and that was that evidence that you can move through things and change how you feel. You know, it doesn't need to take a really long time. So even though we're saying like shadow work is deep, doesn't mean it needs to take like years or consume your life. Like it doesn't. And also like it doesn't need to be really horrible and painful and sad.
No.
Like you know, shadow work can be, I'll say, fun. I don't know, like
no,
healing,
it can 100% be fun. I feel like so many different ways to heal can be really fun and less daunting than it seems. And I think as well, like as you were saying then, like it doesn't need to be so heavy. I feel like the thing with shadow work is that usually something you're working on is something where you've suppressed the emotion. That's why I feel like you've felt the emotion, you kind of ran from it, and then you've suppressed it. And then that's what you're going to come back to when you uncover your shadows. It's like, where am I holding that emotion? And I wanted to share a beautiful experience I had the other night. What I was telling you, I'm not going to go too much into it because, as we just said, you'll actually learn more about this person next week. But me and Grace did like this different way of healing the other night, something we've not tried before. And I had this really beautiful experience where it was completely like one of my shadows that I just basically, like, we did this dance and we did this meditation. I was like really in my intuition. And then I was like transported to this memory, and I was holding my own hand in the memory, and I got really, really emotional. And it came to me that the reason why these are in our shadows is because we didn't feel the emotion at the time, and we've suppressed it, and we didn't let ourselves feel. And the last thing we want to do is to hold on to emotion, because it's so bad for the body. Well, for bad emotions like sadness, anger, it's a really low level frequency. And not only that, it can cause bad expression of the genes, which causes like disease, like which is at a whole different level. But we just don't want to hold on to anger. And I feel like throughout life we can go through our life saying, oh, I'm quite a flow person, like I don't hold on to grudges, I don't hold on to anger and sadness. But like, how much anger, sadness and shame are you holding on to yourself, like for your past memories, for stuff that you've done? And shadow work will help you unlock that. It'll help you go back to those memories and release emotion. And yeah, that can be a little bit sad and daunting at the time, but as I said at the start, that provides room for like more love, more happiness, more acceptance. That's like the really beautiful part of it. But I think, just remembering that part of shadow work is going back and giving yourself that permission slip to feel the emotions that you didn't give yourself at the time.
Yeah, because obviously quite a lot of the shadows that you can form were formed in childhood, and when you're a child, like you just didn't have the emotional capacity to, you know, maybe properly process it or look at it kind of rationally. So 100%. But some other ways that you can kind of like uncover your shadows, or like even you thinking, right, I want to do this shadow work, it sounds great, I want to boost my manifesting powers, I want to unblock myself, I want to clear my channel, but you're thinking, I don't even know what mine are. Some ways that you can start to like figure out what they are is like questioning what triggers you. So we all get triggered by things. There's people we don't like, things we don't like, whatever, things that we judge in other people. It's all a mirror to things we don't like in ourselves and judging ourselves that we need to heal. And if you can have that self-reflection and self-analysis to question when you feel triggered, or when you feel like, I don't like that person, you have this urge to like gossip about them or bitch about them or judge them, slag them off. If you just pause and ask why, what is it about this person that triggers me? What is it about them that I don't like? Does this highlight some insecurity within myself? How does this make me feel? You can start to uncover maybe where some of your own shadows are. And that's why like journaling is so powerful. Obviously, like meditation, stuff like that is amazing, because meditation just gives you that moment of stillness to have that sort of like distance in your own mind between your thoughts and your behavior patterns, and like yourself as the observer of what's going on. But then, so like it all works hand in hand. But then journaling is good because you can literally, there could be something that you've done that day that you're thinking, that's a bit weird. That doesn't really identify with who I think I am, or that behavior pattern doesn't really serve me. Because as you're doing self-development journey, like you're listening to this podcast, you're all on a self-development journey, and you start to become aware of behavior patterns that may be self-sabotaging, that aren't for your highest good, that aren't actually empowering. And you can then start to look at your own, you then see examples through hearing on podcast, books, other people saying what aren't like self-serving behaviors. Then you start to develop more of an awareness within yourself of your own behaviors that aren't serving you. So when you go to journal, maybe you go and journal about one little thing about, why am I putting off doing this? Why am I procrastinating this? Or why am I feeling small in this situation and feeling like I need to play small and shrink and feel shy or whatever? Why am I not stepping into my power there and using my voice, or what's going on there? When you start to just compassionately journal, like self-analysis journal from a place of compassion about something like that, you're writing and you're writing and you're writing, and then you're just uncovering your stream of like consciousness, and you'll get to the bottom, the root of where it's coming from, the shadow. So, and then from there you have awareness of what it is, and awareness is key. The first step to healing is awareness. We cannot heal anything we're not aware of, and shadows we can be very unaware of them, so they just unconsciously on autopilot run the show. So when you're doing that self-analysis, self-critical journey, but not in a horrible way, like so much people think being critical of yourself is bad, but it's not. It's just about like taking accountability for your behavior from a loving place of knowing that you want to live the best life that you can. You want what's best for you. You want the best relationships, friendships, career, fulfillment, how you see the world. All of that starts with us, not with anybody else. It's nothing external. It's all within, how we then project out and see everything else and experience everything else. So if you're doing that self-analysis in journaling, and from that point, from that intention, and then sort of questioning why you do something, you'll then uncover like what it is, that why you're procrastinating on that project. Actually, it's a deep down belief that when you actually achieve the success of finishing that, you won't be able to keep it, and it will disappear, because you have a belief maybe in your shadow that success is hard to obtain, and that you don't really deserve it, and that you might get it, but it's not going to last. Some people believe that happiness doesn't last. Some people believe they don't even deserve happiness, let alone that if they do get it, it doesn't last. So that can be making you procrastinate on something you really want to do. And all these, that's where I mean, like your autopilot behavior can really stop you from living the life you want. And, you want what you want, and you deserve what it is that you desire, and we can get in our own way. But that like journaling, when it comes to shadow work, can be amazing, because it can really help you unpick why you're doing what you're doing. Because maybe you haven't got therapy available to you, you haven't got the finances for it or anything, or you don't feel like you want to, and that's fine. And actually self-analysis with journaling from a compassionate, self-loving place can be incredibly like shifting, and help you really have big breakthroughs and uncover things.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like journaling is so powerful. I mean, we say it all the time, but definitely in the sense of shadow work. I think always like journaling, and then always questioning why, as you just said, like maybe you'll write something like, oh, I've done this today, didn't make me feel like, God, why am I doing this, but why am I doing that? Like there's so many different layers, and like you said, like you have the capability to dive deep in those layers. Like don't take on other people's experiences. Like I've just said, personally, I reached out to someone for help. That doesn't mean that you need to 100%. Like you can be your own healer, you can navigate your own healing, and you can dive really deep, especially in journaling. And as well, I think the more you kind of do the work on yourself, like another point we wanted to talk about was how much it affects the people around you. Like you are not just healing yourself. When you heal shadows, oh my God, you're healing so much. You're healing like your ancestral line, which is just like a whole nother topic. Like there's so many things deep within you. Like some of the things we carry aren't even ours. They're not even our parents. Like it's gone back generations, which is just really interesting. But if you actually take that responsibility to heal yourself and heal your own shadows, it causes a ripple effect to everyone around you, and you will notice that people will start leveling up in the way that you are, and you don't even need to tell them. Like, literally, they will see how much you're thriving, they'll see how much you're unlocking within you, and they want a part of that, and then their healing becomes your healing, and you're just like all rising in consciousness together.
Yeah, it's that it's a ripple effect, and it's also that thing we keep saying recently about like leading by example when it comes to if you are in a romantic relationship or there's a family member that you really wish was doing more work on their self-development journey just because they're struggling with their mental health or anything. You can never make people do things. You can suggest things, but you can't make anyone do anything. And actually the best way to convince them that it's worth doing is by leading by example and embodying it yourself, showing the results of it within yourself, of how much it helps you feel better, helps you thrive, because they'll be able to physically see that. They'll see you glow, they'll see you being amazing, smashing it, and they'll be like, oh, right, okay, maybe I should try that meditation. Maybe I should try journaling, and maybe I should listen to the Finding Your Feet podcast they keep nagging me to listen to. Things like that. And leading by example is so important. But when you heal these things within yourself. It's like a little drop in the ocean of who's in your circle. Like you're making a splash through what you're doing, and that splash, just by you doing it and embodying it, without you're not like you going around saying, oh, I'm going to see this energy healer, so you should do this too. You're just doing what you're doing, and then they see you grow, they see you glow, they see you improve, and they're in your vortex, your vibration, your energy, they're absorbed in that, and then it rubs off on them, and it's like a ripple effect. So it spreads to all your close friends, your family. Like when you start to heal yourself, like you heal other people around you, which is really amazing. So that's also why shadow work is so good, and because you can really help to, I don't know, help other people start doing it as well. And like we said, it doesn't need to be some big, scary, horrible thing. And it doesn't need to take over your life. It's just having a deeper awareness of you and what you're doing, and just questioning why you do things that maybe don't serve you, so that you can just really, truly unblock yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And as we were saying before as well, what I love about it is that, say you could have a breakthrough, or I might, or something like that, and then your breakthrough, the way you explain it might spark something within me, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so interesting. Like maybe I did a similar thing, and it starts helping you pick apart your own life, which is really interesting. So I think that really helps with why you and your friends level up together, is because you kind of bouncing ideas off one another, like bouncing shadows.
Yeah. I think, and that's what's really amazing about being vulnerable as a human and stepping into your vulnerability, because that's something that a lot of people are really scared to do. The ego gets in the way. They're like, no, you can't show anyone that you're weak, in inverted commas, and that vulnerability is not a good thing. But actually, when you are being like that, it just develops people, I think it's Brene Brown or something, says if you want deeper connection in your relationships, you need to be more vulnerable, because that's what connects from human to human. Because at the end of the day, we're all having the same human experience, and we're all and you'll find as well, if you have these nice friendships where you can share shadow work or anything you've been doing and have a discussion about it, you all will have probably a very similar experience. We all tend to have very similar limiting beliefs. They're just worded in a slightly different way, but we all, have our own. And just by voicing out and speaking, you can just really help somebody else spur off and think, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I think that too. But also just that vulnerability, if you have relationships where you can do that, is very beautiful. And if you don't and you want to, then be the first one to start doing it, because it will help so many other people. And that's why people struggle with social media, because it's an incredibly invulnerable place. It's a place where you go to show your best self. It's where you put your best foot forward. It's where you talk about how you're winning. It's where you put your fire selfies. It's where you share your inspirational positive quotes. You aren't hanging out your dirty laundry on there, and then you don't have to. You don't need to. You're not required to do that. This is all private work, and your shadows are personal to you, and you don't need to tell them to anyone. But it's just an example. Social media is where people struggle, because everybody's portraying this image of perfection, but no human is perfect, because that is not the human experience. The human experience is messy, it's a bit chaotic, as there's ups and downs, there's good times and bad times, and that's normal. That is the human experience. But so what can be amazing about shadow work, if you can open up with your friends by it, is that it opens that deeper level of like vulnerability in your own relationships, and just that in itself can make you so much closer with people, which is really, really beautiful. And from you doing that with them, they'll then be able to do it with other people, and it'll just, again, like that ripple effect, it just spreads off and off and off. Basically everyone's just going to do shadow work because it's good.
Yeah, literally, we've sold it to you now. Don't be scared. Go head first into it. But something else we were going to touch on was spirit guides. So I don't like, with my spirit guides, like, I'm aware that they're there, and I feel like I'm just predicting the future now. I feel like I'm going to go on a journey deeper with them in the future, because I don't like speak directly to them. I've worked with them with my energy healer. I think they kind of like tell messages to her. But I believe, like, when I'm journaling, sometimes messages come from some wacky places, and you think, that didn't just come from me. And I'm like, is that a spirit guide? But I feel like some people, I feel like you have more of like a personal connection with your spirit guides. Like I don't know. I something you can't put into words. I don't feel like I can put into words the kind of like relationship that I have with my spirit guides, but maybe it will come more personal with my shadow work further down the line.
Yeah, because the thing with spirit guides is they're available to all of us if we want them. Like, they're not something to fear, because spirit guides cannot exist without you. You are the human form, so they can only communicate through you if you allow them to. So the fact that you're saying that you predict that you will communicate more with them in the future is you are opening up that channel. Like, you're dropping that sort of not boundary, just you're dropping that guard a little bit, and you're like, do you know what? Yeah, you can. I'm open to this. Whereas if it's not really in your realm of like consciousness, it's not really something you think about, then you won't experience it, because they don't come in unless you want them. So I think the reason why I've experienced it more on a personal level than you have is because I was doing like Gabby Bernstein's spirit guide meditation she put on Instagram years ago. I did it years ago. It's the first time I didn't really even know what they were, and I just did it. And from that, then I kind of opened up my awareness to it, and then obviously that's why I've experienced it more than you. But when it comes to shadow work, spirit guides can be incredible, because, and just before we go into it, like, spirit guides can be actually past members of family that have passed, like your ancestors that aren't here anymore. They can come back as a spirit guide, and they won't stay with you forever, but they'll come back maybe to help you heal from some of your shadows, help you uncover some of your whatever it is that's blocking you. They can come back and give you messages that assist you in that healing, because they want you to, like, they want to support you. They want you to heal and be, you. And but also, like, then there's spirit guides who maybe just come in and out, that aren't there with you all the time, that you maybe, because you can ask them to like reveal their names and stuff, so sometimes you can notice who's like consistently there, and sometimes there's ones that aren't, that just there once. But then I think everybody's got one spirit guide that's always there consistently through your whole life. But yeah, it's just about whether you're open to it or not. And some people really don't resonate with them, and that's fine. And sometimes you can just speak to your own intuition and get the guidance that you need. But some people do really resonate with spirit guides. I know there's a few people in our community that do communicate with their own and that are very curious about this. And you can just open up to them through meditation. But it's always about making the boundary clear from the start that you only want spirit guides of the highest good, the purest love, and like the purest love and the purest intention to speak through you, to help you. You've always got to set that boundary from the start with experiencing this, that you and say out loud before you meditate on it or anything, that you only want the spirits of like the highest good, of the purest love, purest intention to channel through you and speak through you. And then, like, after you're done with the meditation, like, close yourself up energetically so that your channel is not open, because we are energetic beings. So sometimes spirits that don't have your like purest intention can come in and just like linger about, and that might sound a bit like far-fetched for some people to have to like understand, and I completely get that. But if you are open to things like that, like spirit guide messages that you can get, can be very, very, very powerful for your like journey, especially when you're like unsure about where to go with something, you're unsure about something, calling on that guidance can be incredible, can be very, very healing. Like I've experienced it within my own shadow work, like a spirit guide that was actually an ancestor from a past like few generations up that I'd never actually met coming back. And I won't go into the details of what it is, but yeah, it was actually a huge part of like uncovering some of my own shadows not even that long ago. So yeah, so it can be very, very beautiful as well. If you are into things like that, like welcoming that part of it into your journey can be amazing. But if you're not and that doesn't resonate with you, like that's fine. And that's where you can instead just try and call on your intuition, intuitive guidance, intuitive journaling, and asking for guidance in that way and letting like your intuition speak through you when you're journaling and things like that. To get the sort of guidance you need if you're feeling like you want to pull on that sort of, I don't know, support.
Yeah. I actually just realised as well then, like when you were speaking, because you know you're saying about how you have to be conscious like what spirits you're calling in.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying that I don't connect personally with my spirit guides, but then I have had obviously that revelation recently, which I'm not going to go too much into because I don't feel like it's
Still
the time.
unpacking it.
Still unpacking it massively, but yeah, like I had this very weird revelation that for like almost 10 years
you've got a gift.
I've been, it's going to sound really wild to anyone listening, and that's why I'm not going to go into it now, and one day I will go into it very deeply, but basically I've uncovered that I have been connecting with spirits without
being really aware that you were.
Yeah. And they're not, I don't think they're my spirit guides, like they're not good spirits, they're like very random spirits. So it's just when I've been like very vulnerable and open to it, and it's a whole nother world, but it's very interesting. So I actually just wanted to touch on it there because you're like, as you were speaking, I was like, how can I say that I'm closed off to spirits when actually recently I've had this huge revelation like with my therapist and with the energy healer. But we will get more into it in the future.
You've just given them a little crumb now. They're going to be like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah, but no,
you got to unpack it a bit more, I think, before you can voice 100%. It out.
But it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, because I think we all have the capabilities to communicate with spirits. And I think some people find that really scary. I'm not saying that I go around talking to ghosts because I bloody don't. And I hardly even speak to them. Honestly, I hardly do it. I've just done it a few times in my life at points when I intuitively was guided to do Gabby Bernstein's meditation or whatever, spirit guide meditation, because I was intuitively guided to now receive a message about something. And every message I've got it all down in my journal. I keep all my journals and I can look back and there were huge messages of things that I really did need to do and whatever. And so it's
I feel like we've gone down that, like I'm in like a spirit.
What, are you feeling scared?
No, I don't know. Maybe the spirits around us. Like I just feel an energy from us talking about it, and the sky looks really funky out there too.
Well, anyway, so yeah, we all have like the capability of like communicating with them, but it's just whether you want to do it or not. And because you just got to think, like, I mean, we're here on this like I always say, spinning rock in the middle of the universe. This isn't all from man-made. Let's be real. There's something bigger working out there. And obviously, we know so much about energy and actually the science behind energy when it relates to manifesting all that stuff. And there's things that science can't even explain. So,
yeah, sure. Like near-death experiences.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about that, watch Survivor Death on Netflix and you will understand that there's no way we just die. Like we don't just die. Like we're all energy. Our energy can't just dissipate in a second. Like it's impossible because it's energy. It can't just disappear. I love that documentary.
It was very good. Anyway, we'll just finish off with one more point before we wrap up the episode, and that is just how shadow work relates to manifesting. So I kind of touched on it before, but I didn't explain it. So when you're manifesting, you can declare what you want, but if your energy behind it, the intention and the information, the content of what you want does not vibrationally match, you will not get it. So there'll be things that you try and manifest that you will not get because you are subconsciously blocking it through limiting beliefs, through blocked shadows. And that's why shadow work can be so powerful, because let's use an example of what I was saying before about that you can have like a shadow around success and that it's bad and that people won't love and accept you when you are successful or whatever, or you gain success. But then you say on your vision board, I want to manifest becoming a billionaire, or I want to manifest having a big business or something, or some career goals, some promotion. So you're trying to manifest this thing, but it's not coming. It's because vibrationally you're not matched with it, like your energy behind it, like the energy that drives your manifestations, that puts the energy out into the universe, it all comes from the subconscious mind. That's where the energy comes from, not the conscious mind. Because otherwise, if it came from the conscious mind, we'd all go around saying, I want a mansion. And you'd get it straight away because the energy be coming from the conscious mind. But it's not, it comes from the subconscious mind. So that's why you have to do shadow work, stress your limiting beliefs. Because if your energy, so if your subconscious mind is saying success, it doesn't last, you aren't worthy of it, it's not safe, people won't like you if you become successful, blah, 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 things like that, they're all your shadows, your limiting beliefs. And you're saying on your vision board, universe, I want to manifest a successful business or a career move, a promotion, a pay rise. Vibrationally, you're not matched to that, so it won't come into reality. So that's where shadow work can really help with your manifesting, because it will, whatever you're trying to manifest and you can't manifest it, either you just need to wait a bit longer and you need to have more patience, or you are subconsciously blocking it. And shadow work can really help that. So if there's anything you've got on your manifesting list, your vision board, that's been rolling over for a few years, it's still not coming to reality, that's when it's time to start questioning, why is this not coming in? And then uncovering that it's, it's because there's some sort of something blocking you subconsciously, and then you'll be able to address what it is. But yeah, we won't go much more into that. I feel like we've gone into a lot of info in this episode, but that's just essentially how it can relate to manifesting and why it's really, really powerful work to clear your channel and help you powerfully manifest.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well that like repeats, because like if you're trying to manifest something and you're repeating the same behavior and the same reality is coming to you, that's where it's your shadow work that you really need to do, because your shadow work is going to help you question why you're doing that, because it always comes from a reason. We don't just do anything for the sake of it. Like everything is like unconscious programming. So yeah, shadow work, like really down into that, is going to help you manifest, because it's going to help you clear that channel and make you understand why you're doing certain things. Because you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. You have to dive deeper if you're not getting the results that you want. If you are getting the results that you want, then that's absolutely fabulous. You go. But yeah, if you're not, then dive that little bit deeper and just embrace shadow work. Like it's such a fun journey. Like even though it can sound heavy, it's so fun. Like the last month or so, like where I've dived into mine, like I felt the happiest I've ever felt in my life, because you're on that wave, like you're riding the emotions. You're saying, I'm going to feel this, but then I'm going to release it. And once you release it, that's where you get the room for more beautiful things.
And I mean, I'm not obviously in your head, but as an outsider, of someone who talks to you every single day, like pretty much
knows all my
by the
shadows.
hour, I can see already in such a short space of time of you embarking on that work, like the energetic shift within you. You are just much more open. I can see that your channel, just we sound crazy, your channel is so much more, I can feel it. I can see the glow, it's there. It's like building. I just like went American there for like a second. So what's going on? We'll just wrap up the episode here because now we're getting crazy. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening, tuning in. Hope this was interesting. You're now intrigued about shadow work, and you're all going to go and unblock shadows and manifest your dreams, which is beautiful. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And like I said, come and connect with us on Instagram at Find Your Feet Podcast. That's where we are every day of the week. Love connecting with you guys on there. So come on there. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Give us some feedback. DM us. Share it on your stories. We absolutely love hearing what you guys have to say.
Yeah, for sure. Come and let us know what this sparks within you. And also a huge part of shadow work. Obviously, if you're someone that's listening to this now and you're like, I actually know my shadows and I'm working on them, a huge thing that will help you is affirmations, which we both use so powerfully. I'm actually going to create my new personalized affirmation, because I do have one now, but I'm going to make a new one for all the new stuff I've uncovered recently. But if you are interested in getting a personalized affirmation, Grace and I will plan and record them for you, depending on what you want to manifest and depending on your subconscious beliefs and shadows. they're super powerful if you are interested. We also do have a range of just other affirmations if you just want like self-belief, something like that. And also our meditations, which we absolutely love, that also have different themes. So if you do want to go and check those out, you can head to findingyourfeetpodcast.com and check them out.
Yeah, they are amazing, and you should download them straight to your phone. They're very easy to access. Save them into your music, like on your iPhone or whatever. You can, like, I have affirmations. Like I stayed at Abby's house last night, and then so I set an alarm on my phone.
I love that.
So I had as set as my alarm tone, instead of like that horrible Apple alarm clock, I had motivational morning affirmation playlist. So it comes off and it starts with the nice music. And it goes, I am motivated to achieve my goal. Like, starts sparking off all this, high vibe stuff to get you going as soon as you open your eyes. So yeah, they are amazing, and affirmations are a huge part of helping to, once you become aware of your shadows, to then unblock them, because they are rewiring that thought pattern and changing your frequency. So yeah, we love our affirmations, very proud of them. So go and check them out on our website. We've left a link in the show notes. And if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave us a review for your chance to be featured in Review of the Week next week. And if you're listening on Spotify, then hit follow so you never miss our episodes. We release them every single Wednesday and on a Sunday. And if you would like to watch this, but if you're just listening to the audio, we put all of our main Wednesday episodes on our YouTube channel. Finding Your Feet podcast is the channel name. The link is in the description. So if you want to join our YouTube fam, if you want to feel like you're really part of the conversation and watch us as well as listen, then go and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's all fun and games over on the YouTube channel. And if you do want to sign up for our Monday morning mail list, you can join us. It's basically like as we do in the podcast, we go deep, but it's like a whole different format. Obviously it is because it's writing, but I feel like it's just like a whole different download from the soul, as we always say. It literally is. We sit there and give you a little download from the soul to boost you up on your Monday morning, because that's what you need on a Monday morning, like just that little boost of energy and motivation.
Yeah.
So the link is in the show notes if you'd like to sign up for that Monday morning mailing list.
Yeah, but that's everything. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.